Joining us now is Rich Noyes, Research Director at the Media Research Center, a Washington-based media watchdog group. And Rich, it's great to have you here on Newsmax TV.
Well, thanks very much for having me.
Let's start with presidential candidate Michele Bachmann's slip-up over which town the late great actor John Wayne was born in. Was that blown way out of proportion by the media, in your view?
Oh, I think it certainly was. I mean, if you run for president, if you're in public office, you're going to make misstatements all of the time. But the press is uniquely focused on anything Michele Bachmann says that they can, use as an aha, gotcha moment. I mean, President Obama just a few days ago made a very painful mistake talking to troops about giving the Medal of Honor to someone that he said was alive for the ceremony, but in fact had been killed in action. That was something that none of the networks talked about, even though he is the President of the United States. It was a high-profile moment. But Michele Bachmann says something, and suddenly it's news on all three of the big channels and the big papers. There seems to be a very different standard with her that, the media seem to have an extra animosity towards her.
Why is a mistake from a liberal icon so quickly forgotten, yet mistakes by conservatives, especially conservative women, are brought up by the media again and again?
Well, the media seem to be creating these themes that, conservatives make mistakes, they're gaffe prone, they can't be trusted on their facts, they may not be up for the job. Whereas someone like President Obama, the storyline on him is that he's brilliant, he's a constitutional law professor, he's one of the greatest people ever to be in the Oval Office. And so, his mistakes are just mistakes, whereas with these conservatives, any mistake becomes proof that the media are right in treating these people as if they're not worthy of the same respect. And, it's basically these themes, conservatives can't win. On the other hand, I think the public gets tired of it very quickly. I mean, I think, the issues for the public are going to be who's been right on the big issues. Is Barack Obama's economic policies the right ones, or the ones represented by Michele Bachmann more correct? And I think that's what people expect the debate to be about, not trivia.
Is Michele Bachmann in danger of getting Palinized by the media so that independents decide that she's radioactive and dismiss her candidacy? And what does she need to do to avoid getting Palinized by the media?
Well, Palinized sort of has two meanings. One, I think you will see a definite disdain from the media elite towards these people. On the other hand, supporters seem to almost take it as a badge of honor when you're attacked by the media elite. They're not held in any great regard themselves. But I think what she needs to do as a candidate is make sure she's keeping the focus on what she wants to talk about, her policies, talking about, America under Barack Obama and what, she would do differently if she became president. And, all of these things serve as distractions. So she needs to either, figure out a way to minimize them or deal with them very, very quickly when they come up so that she can get the subject back to what she wants to talk about.
Rich, how do you explain the parallel between how the mainstream media lambasted Sarah Palin right out of the gate in 2008 and its coverage of GOP presidential candidate Michele Bachmann?
Well, they're very similar. I mean, these are two different people with two different resumes, but there is a lot of similarity in the way the media have gone after them. And, what we saw, of course, in 2007, you saw someone like a Barack Obama who didn't have a whole lot of experience, even Hillary Clinton, who had a few years in the Senate and a stint as First Lady, but not a long political resume in the traditional sense. They were held up as rock stars. It was a dream. The idea of putting them together would be a dream ticket. They were celebrated throughout this early stage of the campaign. Here you see the media taking a completely different approach and trying to figure out ways they can minimize these people, find chinks in their armor and bring them down. I mean, I think that's probably what you'd expect from the media is they need to test these people and put them through the crucible if they're going to run for president. But they need to be fair about it, and they need to be the same for both sides, not just Republicans and conservatives.
What motivates the constant comparisons between Michele Bachmann and Sarah Palin, in your view? And shouldn't each candidate stand on his or her own merits?
Well, I think it's mainly a superficial contrast. I think they are both women, they are both conservatives, they are both people who have a great following in the Tea Party. They're a little bit anti-establishment in the way they approach these things. But if you strip, that's a superficial level. Getting into the details of who these people are and their resumes, they are very different. But I think the media likes simplicity, they like the superficialities. And I think, the media also have already done a job in attacking Sarah Palin and minimizing Sarah Palin, if they can just transfer that identity over to Michele Bachmann, it might, actually cause her some problems with independents who won't give her a fresh look, won't look at her as her own individual. They'll just accept the media paradigm about her. And I'm not sure it's fair for, the media portrayal of Sarah Palin is very fair. I think transferring it over to Michele Bachmann wouldn't be very fair either.
Okay, Democratic consultant and CNN commentator Hillary Rosen said Tuesday that the attacks on Michele Bachmann are motivated by a double standard toward women candidates. Specifically, no male candidate would be called a flake or continually compared to another candidate the way Michele Bachmann has been to Sarah Palin. What is your take on the double standard as related to gender?
Well, politics and the media are filled with double standards. I think, there is a different threshold for a woman candidate. We've seen it. I think there's a different standard for a woman conservative candidate than a woman liberal candidate, who, they get celebrated as pioneers. Nancy Pelosi was shattering the marble ceiling when she became Speaker of the House. She was celebrated. She's another politician who's made more than her fair share of misstatements over the years, but it never became something that glommed onto her identity the way the media seem to be doing with Palin and Bachmann. If you want to scrub out all the double standards, they'd have no standards at all.
Michele Bachmann has a law degree and a postgraduate law degree. Will the campaign to smear her candidacy prevail, in your view?
Well, I think it probably will for a while. I mean, this is what the liberal media is going to do, is they're going to try to get the identity of her established at the outset of her campaign. Her job as a candidate is to establish her own identity on her own terms. The campaign will move on to the issues and move on to other personalities, and we'll see what happens. But she's got to be very aggressive at this stage that she is setting her own identity. She cannot look for help from the liberal media. She's no Barack Obama. They won't be treating her as a rock star.
All right, Rich Noyes of the Media Research Center, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.